Welcome to the Jay Martin Show. Now, today we're going to take a look at a company that I recently invested in, and this business is located in Argentina. I'm sure you're aware that the political climate in Argentina has recently shifted dramatically, and many investors, myself included, are now looking for opportunities down there. So today we're going to look at a silver exploration company, and cornerstone investors are individuals that you'll recognize, people like Frank Giustra, Sean Kuhn from the Fiore Group. Willem Middelkoop, the founder of the Commodity Discovery Fund, has stepped in as a strategic advisor. And this is a company with a grand vision and, most importantly, the capital groups to support that vision. So it's a brand new story. They've been trading for 30 days, just over 30 days. The symbol is AGAG, silver. I did invest in the private placement, but I've also bought shares on the open market since they began trading. It's brand new. You haven't missed anything yet, but I'd love to know your thoughts on this story in the comments. Here is Argenta Silver and the Vice President of Exploration and Development, Joaquín Marias. Enjoy.
This is Jay Martin.
All right, here I am with Joaquín Marias. Joaquín, it's great to see you. Thanks so much for coming on the program.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Jay, for having me here.
Okay, so here's what I want to go a few different directions with you today. You're very up to speed on the politics and developments in Argentina and how that relates to the natural resource sector, which I want to spend a lot of time on today. But we're going to begin with a project that you're very focused on right now. And the people that you're working with are very familiar to my audience. Individuals like Willem Middelkoop, Sean Kuhn, Frank Giustra, and yourself have launched a new silver company based in Argentina. And we're going to get into those details as well. So let's start with that story, though. Where did the inspiration for Argenta Silver come from? I know you found the project. You've been with Dolly Varden, and I believe you brought the project to the Fiore office. And if I've got that right, let's start there. But I'd love to know the seeds of this one.
You got it totally right, Jay. And I'm from Argentina, so probably if somebody in your audience doesn't notice, I have a very Latin American accent. I'm from Argentina. I'm from Mendoza. Actually, I was in the project 15 years ago. And the inspiration came mostly from Frank and Sean Kuhn. I have been working in the Fiore Group for the last 3 years, mostly looking for copper and gold projects. And it's funny that one day they came to me and asked me, what about silver in Argentina? And I point right to my screensaver, and it was a picture from the project where I was 15 years ago. And I told them, look, this is the third largest silver project in Argentina, that it's not developed at all. It's sitting there. Probably we should be focusing on this. By my surprise, the answer from Frank was that he was dreaming about this project, or about a pure silver project, for the last 40 years. You know that Sean Kuhn, he's also very well involved in silver. And then we start adding into the equation some other people that we know that are very, very strong in the space of silver. The vision about this, or the inspiration, came mostly from the three of us, that we understand and we know what's the potential of the country itself and the project itself as it is nowadays.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. I've heard that comment before from a couple people out of the Fiore office, the dream of a big silver project. And so you ended up in Argentina, and Argentina is making a lot of headlines right now. Argentina fascinates me because despite terrible politics for the previous half century, there's actually a lot of natural resource activity that's come out of that. Now with a competent pro-business leader, I'm very excited about what can happen in that country. And so, you're right there. Maybe break down what's headline worthy, what people who are beginning to understand the new opportunity in Argentina, or want to understand the new opportunity in Argentina, should be focused on.
Well, Argentina, as you said, it's changing completely. It's been, let's say, almost 20 years of a very negligent administrations that they have come with different situations that put the population in such a struggle. And after that, they start to put in struggle as well the industries and the economy in the country. So these last 20 years were very, very unhealthy for the country, very unhealthy for the economy of the country. The country was completely trapped. There were capital controls, currency restrictions, and a lot of other things that were very, very, very disadvantaged or discouraging. That were discouraging investments into the country. With Milei coming to the power, those things have changed completely. It's all over the news that the country is starting to open again to business. The restrictions are going away very quickly. I think that last week there was an announcement that some taxes were going to be removed, and those taxes are very relevant taxes, are taxes that are related to the import and export. So that means that most of the goods that are coming into the country from abroad are going to be much cheaper. Some of the companies that sell cars and automobiles, they are already stating that the price of cars is going to be lower than last week. So all these changes are directly impacting into the population and to the industry in general. It's very powerful because Milei is all the time stating that the new Argentina is going to be built over different pillars, and one of them it's obviously mining, being the others energy and the industry in general. So energy and mining are two of the big things on his agenda. That's why he's starting to call companies to come to the country, and he's supporting these companies. And the great opportunity here, you spoke about the opportunity. The opportunity is, Jay, that the country has been in this negligent situation for 20 years. So there are entire places of the territory that hasn't been explored, or projects that they made a discovery 20 years ago and they just left the country and they never came back. The project that we took, Quevar, the project that we acquired from Argenta Silver, the last time that it was thoroughly explored, it was in 2013. Since then, it hasn't seen any kind of investments, like big investments coming. And that's the opportunity for companies like ours to come and grab these projects that are sitting there, that are waiting for investment, and that have a huge opportunity, not only in mining, but as well in the energy sector, in the public or infrastructure, roads and ports, and other things that need to be built in the country or that have been so deteriorated that they need to be rebuilt now. So it's a very, very interesting country, still the 25th largest economy of the world. We are a member of the G20. It's the third largest economy in Latin America. So opportunities in Argentina are huge, huge.
Yeah, 25th largest economy in the world and third largest in Latin America. You know, a lot of natural resource activity already, despite not having a pro-mining leader until right now. But I think there's 10 operating gold mines. It's the fifth largest gold producer in Latin America. It's got the world's second largest lithium deposits and lots of copper activity. Like over 20, at least copper exploration companies, you know, and there's a lot in the pipeline. Now, so if one of your business partners, Frank Justra, had been dreaming about a silver pure play company for 40 years, why did El Quevar, why was that the one that he's going all in on? So walk us through the project and why this is the project that Frank says, yeah, let's do it.
Well, before walking you to the project, I will describe very briefly how is the process from the Fiore Group on identifying projects. And that's something that most of the investors are all the time asking. How do you identify a good project? And actually, identifying a good project, it's a combination of many things. We study every kind of item or every item that the project will have, from jurisdiction to the metallurgy to the mineralogy, where is it located, what is the infrastructure that the project has, is the mineralogy or the deposit accessible as per se, and many other items. So very few projects have passed that filter that we run here in the Fiore Group. And actually El Quevar, it's one of them. El Quevar has a great infrastructure. I would say that it's probably one of the best infrastructures, or a project with the best infrastructure that you will find in Argentina and probably in Latin America. Externally, it has a road that it's coming to a town that it's literally 4 kilometers in front of it. We have coming to there a gas pipeline that has been built for mining purposes. There is a road that it's being paved at this moment, a railroad, and a power line. We have two solar farms at 20 kilometers from the project. One of those, it's the largest solar farm from South America. So what I'm telling you is that in the future, if the project wants to produce, we can choose in between connecting ourselves to the gas pipeline, to the power line, or to the solar farm. We have options, opportunities are right on the door of the project, and the town, it's there. They can provide us workforce. Internally, we acquire a project that has seen over $70 million of investment, where we have a camp that it's ready for 100 people. It was one of the best camps for a decade in Argentina. It predates somehow the boom of the lithium industry. There are over 100,000 meters drilled in the totality of the property. The claim itself has 57,000 hectares. It's a huge land package covering this massive volcanic complex. That's the upside potential of the project, that not only we have 50 million ounces of silver combined in between inferred and indicated, from which 45.3 million ounces of silver are on the indicated and 4.1 are on the inferred. And the grade of the indicated and the inferred are huge. It's 482 grams per ton of silver for the indicated category. And not only that is what we have, it's all the other potential that it's surrounding the silver deposit and the potential of expansion that the silver deposit has itself. There is gold. Barrick was before on the project. They had an agreement with the previous owner. So there is gold. We know that the gold is there. It's been drilled. It's been sampled. There is a huge potential as well for porphyry copper deposits to be allocated in that volcanic complex. It's a huge, massive thing. It's located over the same corridor as one of the biggest mines in the world, that is called Chuquicamata. It's from Codelco. And obviously we have all the roads that they built from before. That's a lot of money and a lot of costs that we don't need to incur for exploration. So let's say that this is a project that it's almost ready to go. And my work now, it's to rehabilitate the roads, to recondition the camp, to put the database in condition, and to put every piece together so we can start now again with this new team to develop this project into new stages.
Okay, that's clear. So your preliminary priority is to sort of refurbish the infrastructure surrounding the project. You mentioned, if I'm correct, there's not been exploration work done since 2013, but there's been $70 million invested into this project, over 100,000 meters of drilling, primarily by Barrick. Was that the primary investment?
No, the previous owner was Golden Minerals, right? And the previous owner, they made an agreement with Barrick in the 2020s for Barrick to go and explore for gold. So Barrick came in, they drilled 5 drill holes, and then they left very quickly. The drill holes that they drilled were very widely spaced, but some of them intersected some mineralization. So most of the investment, it's coming from Golden Minerals days. It's when Golden Minerals was one of the best companies in Argentina. They are the ones that work in the Chinchillas deposit, which became a mine, and today it's a SSR mining. They own it. It's part of the Puna operations. They were also working on the Chita project in San Juan, which is in hands of Minsud today, going towards production in the future. So they had been working in projects that became mines. They really knew what they got in their hands, and they were somehow a bit wrong with Quevar, because they decided to build infrastructure thinking that they were taking advantage of building infrastructure for development beforehand. And actually they ran out of money and they had to leave the country or put the operation in care and maintenance because they thought wrongly that they were going to take this advantage of building all this infrastructure. That's why we have all that infrastructure in place.
Yeah. Well, what year would that have been? Was that like around the 2011, 2012 mark?
That's correct. That's
Yeah,
correct.
I mean, that was a tough time to be investing in infrastructure with the anticipation of good news, which never came. I mean, the next 8, 9 years were very tough in this business. Got
That's
it.
totally
Okay.
correct. Totally correct. And when you get there and you see all this infrastructure, for us are assets. So having a camp at that altitude where we don't need to bring all those things to build the camp, having all those roads, that means that our restart for exploration is going to be very quick. So you are right. Our first step, or the phase one, as we call it, it's the refurnishing or the reconditioning or the rehabilitation of the infrastructure that we inherited. But we also need to put in order our database, which hasn't been properly managed since 2013. It's been 10 years dormant. So technology has changed, software has changed. We need to put all that information into new software. We need to produce good results from that. And we hope that with that, we will come to phase two, which is going to be the drilling of some of those targets in the deposit.
Okay, got it. And so, in terms of like near term news flow, Joaquin, we're looking at probably announcements on the betterment of the infrastructure before we get to any drilling programs. And are we going to have to raise cash before we start exploring again?
I don't think that we will need to raise cash before we start. Probably on the flow of the operations, because it's a project that you can work 12 months a year. So in this place of the mountains of Argentina, on the Andes, you can work the whole year round. So at some point during the drilling operation, we will probably be looking for financing. But the catalyst or catalyzers for us will be coming with a remodel or reinterpretation of the mineralogy. That's going to be crucial, showing the markets in the views or in the eyes of Argenta Silver, how we look at El Quevar. That's going to be one of the catalyzers. We will also be testing surface ground. We will be testing some things that were not tested before, and those results could also be catalyzers. I think that the second catalyzers will be the results from the drilling itself that we hope to be drilling by end of Q1, mid Q2 next year.
Okay. So at present, what we are looking at is 50 million ounces of silver, 46 million of which are in the indicated category, with a grade of 480 grams per ton, or just above that, right? You've got some work ahead of you to refurbish the infrastructure, reanalyze the data, and get a clearer picture. Maybe if that's an accurate resource estimate, is that what the intention there is? When you say, reorganize the data, we have to go and bring in modern technology to re-understand this deposit. What's the purpose of that? What's the result you want to see come out of that? Is it an altered resource estimate, or what's the outcome that you're looking for?
That's a great question, Jay, and thank you very much for asking this. It's a great question, and I think that that's one of the common misinterpretation or misunderstandings that sometimes are in the market. And the base of this industry, it's information. So it's information that it's produced in the field. So the ultimate goal of this industry is to understand the 3D space orientation or position of the mineralogy. So in this work of finding how the mineralization is distributed in the ground, we need to drill. But that drill, it's at the end of the day transformed into numbers, into data that we can manage or work with in different softwares. So if your information is not completely in order, if your information is not in the standards that the softwares will be using, or it's not in the standards that we need for the information to be, then this is the famous phrase that it says garbage in, garbage out. So we need to have a database in conditions. We are inheriting a company that the last time that saw a 3D model was probably in 2013, 2018 when they did the PEA, but actually the information needs to be put back again into software. We need to bring it to the 2 day standards to be or to make some use of it, some good use of it.
Yeah, because as you mentioned, it's a sizable 57,000 hectares. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a huge property. It hasn't only been drilled the deposit itself; it's been drilled all around the place.
Okay.
That's why we know as well that there's lots of potential in the parallel surroundings of the main deposit. So there could be another Quevar sitting right next to it, but we need to dig this information. We need to understand the information in better ways.
Yeah, to get clear on your targets, right? I mean, that's the intention here, right? Is to get a bit more clarity on the optimal targets, where you want to invest, spinning that drill in the ground. Correct?
Yes, and again, the information has to be in a very very good position when you're going to target. So the more information you have and the better your information is, the better you're going to target, and that it's translated somehow in better results or a better use of the resources that you have in the company. And when I say the better resources of the company, it means the money from the shareholders that is coming into the company. So when you are targeting or drilling properly in a very surgical way different targets with good information, that's when the money from shareholders gets real value, right?
Measure twice, cut once, right? 100% agree. So Willem Middelkoop has joined as a strategic advisor. It's interesting because he's never done that before, to my knowledge. Now, for those who've probably seen Willem on either the Jay Martin Show or on VRIC Media, he's the founder of the Commodity Discovery Fund. A very intelligent investor and personality in this business. And so he's joined as a strategic advisor, correct? And what do you expect from Willem, Joaquin?
Well, Jay, I want to add to what you said. I'm coming straight ahead from Europe, from different conferences in Europe, and I have to say that it was also surprised from plenty of people in Europe to see Willem getting involved in this. That's a great asset for us. I mean, bringing people like Willem, where you can get advice on the markets and on the general picture of how silver behaves. That's very important. We are not only bringing Willem. Willem is already in the team, but we are creating here a very knowledgeable group of people. We are bringing top people into the equation. I just want to mention that we have joined recently in Argentina a very good geologist, very well known. He has been working in projects like Fruta del Norte in Ecuador or in Lobo Marte from Kinross in Chile. So it's a person that he's very well known and that he really understands this kind of systems. So what we want to bring into a company like this, it's top people to have top results. It's the same that I was telling to you. If you see some companies, there are some companies that they have teams that are very dysfunctional, and that's when you have dysfunctional results. We are taking our time. We are not rushing things. We're still looking to bring all the management into place, and that's because we want top people in our team.
I love hearing that. As I mentioned in the intro, I am a shareholder of Argenta Silver. So I appreciate that. And Willem brings a capital network as well. I often say on this show, when we're looking at these exploration companies, the number one resource is cash. That's the number one. And that's the reason a lot of these businesses struggle, don't make it, don't generate returns, and lose your capitals because they can't raise more when they need it. And so strong capital partners need to be there for sure, no matter what opportunity you're looking at. And so between obviously the Fiore Group, led by Frank Justra, Sean Kunkun, and the team in Vancouver, and Commodity Discovery Fund out of Europe. Anything else you want to share with my audience today, Joaquin, while I have you here?
Well, as I always say, I think that people sometimes don't remember why Argentina it's called Argentina. And if you allow me, I would like to tell very quickly the story.
Yeah, I definitely want to hear that.
So Argentina, it's called Argentina. You have it right behind you there on the map. So the country is called Argentina because there was a lot of production of silver from Bolivia during the colonial times. And the only way to take that silver was through the ocean, to the Atlantic Ocean, to take it to Europe. So they start transporting that silver through the territory at the south of Bolivia, which was a viceroy. Then the silver was coming to a huge river that it's in the margins of Buenos Aires, the capital of the country. And there was so much silver on the ships on this river that the river ended being called the River Plate. Then the country became the land of the silver, and that's why Argentina, it's called Argentina because of the argentum that was transported around. So it's the country of silver. There are plenty of deposits, and we at this moment have the third largest one. So we are very, very happy about that.
That's fascinating. I didn't know the history with the ties to the Bolivian silver market. That's fascinating. Very cool.
Yeah.
And silly me for honestly never putting that together. Argentina, Argenta. I kind of feel dumb. So, Joaquin, last question, actually, just because you brought up the country, it seems like it really matters what state you're in when you're in Argentina. Not all states have performed equally in terms of political favor and getting business done. You're in the Salta province. So am I right with that analysis? That's been my experience looking at companies in Argentina. Is that accurate? And if so, share a little bit on what you've experienced in that regard and talk to me about the Salta province.
Well, the Salta province has been voted the number one jurisdiction in Latin America by the Fraser Institute. I think that in 2 years in a row, probably it's going to be the third year in a row the next year. The thing is that it's a very, very pro-mining jurisdiction. That jurisdiction is such a pro-mining jurisdiction because of the boom from the lithium industry. It's the heart of the lithium triangle. And that's why there is so much knowledge about mining itself. The thing with Argentina and with the stages, it's true what you're mentioning. It depends on which stage you are coming into the country, what are going to be your benefits. I think that the country has plenty of projects that are in conditions to have PAs, but they haven't crossed that threshold due to the lack of real investment. Quality investment needs to come into the country, and I think that that's why everybody's happy with this government, that it's changing things and it's helping for these investments to come. Argentina, it's not a mining jurisdiction as per se. Every province is a different mining jurisdiction. Every province has different regulations. And Salta, it's the best in Latin America so far.
So I actually have one more question for you. And it's just on the grander vision, because as you mentioned at the very beginning of this interview, Frank Justra has been saying for 40 years that he's been dreaming of a pure play silver company one day. He believes he's found it now. And in his words, we have a very clear vision to scale this into a much larger company. So is it premature to share a little bit about what that larger vision might be? I imagine it's going to cross some borders, but what do you guys, please,
Not at all. We have been very clear with that. The vision here is to create, and as I always say, this is not about Argentina and it's not about El Quevar. It's about Frank Justra's vision and the group vision of growing this from small to bigger. We are starting with El Quevar and we are starting with Argentina because we understood that this is a great project with great potential to start, but we are looking to build here a long-lasting silver company that is going to be focused in Latin America. We are already assessing different opportunities in the continent, and we think that there is plenty of projects that are waiting there and that have great quality. So we are looking at them as well. Okay. That's the general vision, Jay. Yeah. Okay. So growth in two ways. I like it. Joaquin, I want to thank you for coming on today.
Look, the ticker for Argenta Silver is AGAG, Silver Silver. Cannot forget that one. Thank you for your time, Joaquin. It was great having you on and going a bit deeper into the story for the first time. And what I love to do is get you back on. A few months down the road, you've outlined what the next steps are, right? What you guys are going to be core focused on, refurbishing the infrastructure, getting clear on the targets and zones and where you want to put work in. And so, it's December, getting you back on in February, March, getting an update. Stay tuned for that, guys, because I'm going to have Joaquin back on for sure.
I would love to. And thank you very much, Jay. Hope to see you soon then.
Yeah, my pleasure. All right.